Welcome back, everybody. You are watching Lobby Legends Raid Leaders, where we have just concluded the very first game of the day. First of we don't know how many, because we are playing the check format, where it could go on for as long as 11 games total, because the name of the game here is to be one of the first players getting 20 points, first and foremost, with the same distribution that we played out yesterday. But after that, you need to actually win a lobby, take a first place in order to be the champions. Lissa, there's already been quite a few shocks in the first game. Anything you want to call out and draw attention to?
I mean, I think Educated Collins is just being nice to the lobby, giving them a little bit of a lead as he plans to charge his way back up. I'm definitely think he's gonna make an epic comeback. We saw some really interesting hero picks, not the typical lobby you would see on ladder, so that was quite interesting. I wonder if we'll see some more standard hero picks next round. But as you can see here, we are looking at these curve sheet, because you could probably hear Gia and I talking about these different curves during the game: the standard curve, the Jeef curve, and the warrior curve. And she is going to talk to us about that a little bit.
Oh, I am, sure. Okay, so the standard curve, like we know on your first turn, you have 3 gold. You can't afford to level yet. It costs 5 then, so all you can do is really buy. On the second turn, your level goes down to costing 4, so it makes a lot of sense as your gold meets it that your first instinct is to level to 2, and then on turn 3, you could sell that first minion you bought and double buy, so on and so forth, and by turn 5, you get to tier 3. That was the most common thing you would see for the first few months that Battlegrounds came into existence.
Years.
As people, years even, wow. But as people began to experiment, we saw different ways of approaching the early game. Jeef, who is a competitive Battlegrounds player who's finished multiple times at the top of the Americas server, really popularized the Jeef curve, which is known for leveling on the 5 gold turn tier 3 rather than on turn 3 rather than on turn 2 here. And this is something that has kind of hybridized these days, because you don't necessarily power level to tier 4 and tier 5, even though it costs the perfect amount on those turns.
Yeah, we used to level to 3 on turn 4 and then level to 4 on turn 5, but with buddy meta, that's actually slowed down a bit, and you likely don't level to tier 3 till turn 5. And then this last thing, warrior curve. When you watch a player stay on tier 1 forever and ever and ever, that is called the warrior curve, or you might have heard it called the shiny curve, because you're getting as many goldens as possible. You're just staying on tier 1 to collect pairs, freeze triples, power level to tier 4 or tier 3 in order to triple into a 4 or a 5 drop early. So that is known as the warrior curve or the shiny curve.
Right, warrior curve was definitely what everybody was going for a few metas ago. Right before buddies came out, it was the avenge meta, where it was all about trying to hit the dazzling light spawn or the nest matron or a tank, all of which are tier 4 minions that you can triple into, and just having as many possibilities to triples by staying on tier 1 and narrowing down the pool of minions made a lot of sense. But these are not the only curves in the game here. There's so many different ones. One of the main ones that we could also mention is a Reform curve, which applies to almost all the heroes with a 1-cost hero power, where they do buy, and then on turn 2 they can buy again and still perfectly spend their gold by using the hero power. And there's so many different ways you can approach the game. We saw just a while ago that Babu Fat on the Vol'jin did an extended warrior curve, staying 1 more turn down on tier 1, and these are definitely not set in stone. They should just be guidelines. And if you are interested, dear viewers, on learning more about the different strategies in Battlegrounds, there is a very helpful community member you can find on Twitter, at MinderRoots, who on his Twitter has pinned a curve sheet of all the different strategies that you can go for on each hero. Very educational stuff, if you don't mind reading a lot of text.
Yeah, he has a whole spreadsheet of what heroes work best with what. And again, things are different. We talked about that extended warrior curve. That can work a lot with Reno, because you're trying to force triples so that you can hero power a minion. Things are flexible, but that's what's great with coming up with all these new curves. Is we used to just do standard curve, no change. Reform curve came a little bit later because Reform was a newer hero at the time, but now there's so many options for the curve that it's made early game of Battlegrounds super complex. As we go into game 2, we see Be Nice with some interesting options. Omu, Yogg, Rakanishu, Skycap, and Crag. Keep in mind there are no beasts, dragons, or pirates this game. He is going to go with the fun Yogg pick. Educated Collins on the Gallywix. Let's go. Keep in mind no pirates or beasts for him though. Hoff takes a Toki. Oh, I missed what those other options were, but Toki quite interesting. Babu Fat playing the guitar. He's singing a song.
Oh, wow. He's feeling it. Is he trying to summon a hero there? AFK has the little music notes when she wakes up, right? But we do have a Finley choice here, which I agree with. I'm not a big fan of Malagos anymore after the Murloc Tidehunter has left the minion pool. But Finley definitely capable of spiking very hard. As long as you find a hero power, which has a corresponding buddy of tier 4, you're already getting great value because Finley gets his buddy on tier 3.
Now, unfortunately, we cannot see who Finley has been offered for hero options. It is a very interesting decision. He is going to take Skycap and Crag. So Skycap and Crag has the hero power that it saves up money in this little money piggy bank. And you don't want to use the hero power until you need the money. It will scale 1 gold per turn. So eventually you can get 7 extra gold, 8 extra gold, stuff like that. And then has a tier 4 buddy, but with Sir Finley, he will get that buddy on tier 3. So Sir Finley picking Skycap and Crag here, excellent decision. Early hero power, or early buddy, and because the buddy is a Battlecry buddy, can get use out of Bran.
Yeah, that buddy will give him another huge turn of gold spike. So it means now that the Finley on the Crag has 2 turns where they can truly try and pop off. The timing of when to cash out your hero power, I find is very, very interesting with Crag. We see some players try and greed it as much as possible when they get to 10 gold, for example. But sometimes it's correct to go for it a bit earlier if you find a very good shop that you can buy immediately and maybe save you a lot of health for the next immediate fight. But over here on Kurt's side, we have Rafam. We did just mention the Rafam curve, and that's exactly what he's gone for with 2 of the best minions to get in the early game to do so. That Swamp Striker plus the Rockpool Hunter is already an iconic duo, I want to say, and should be able to win almost any early game fight while he continues to get value from the hero power and copies a pair.
Yes. Very good start for Rafam. I want to just say we have a lot more standard heroes going on this game. Rafam isn't seen as much in this meta, but oh my gosh, Kirk gets offered another pair of Swamp Strikers and a triple that he can freeze in the shop very nicely. This is just the most stats you can basically start with in any game right now because he's getting double Swamp Striker, double Rockpool Hunter, so many stats, and might even a tier 2 from Hoff. I don't know if Hoff has decided to hero power early, but they did stay on tier 1.
Yeah, there's honestly a curve for Toki as well, where you can like on turn 2 sell out of the minion you bought on tier 1 so you can level in hero power. Even if you don't have a board, it means that you can buy a 3-drop on the very next turn. But we saw that Hoff went for a more reserved style of play of buy into buy hero power into buy and hero power again. So he has a 2-drop on board in the Tough Tusk and has frozen the Harvest Golem in shop. It's a lot of stats for now, but I don't think enough to beat this amazing Murloc start from the Rafam. Also want to draw attention to Ken. He is on Syndragosa again. That was him last game, right?
But
Wait, no, that's Shambhala. Sorry, it's a blue hero. I'm blind.
I was like, what? There's another Syndragosa.
No, my bad.
No, we do see him on Shambhala, though, which is a very fun hero. And Educate Collins will be taunting him with all his elementals. As we know, Shambhala thrives on early elementals, but so does Gallywix. So Gallywix going to say to him, no. I am the true elemental hero. But a little interesting of a turn for Collins because this triple is way too early. He isn't able to double level or anything. And the other minions on the board are decent. He could just freeze for it.
There's a pretty interesting, I think, line of maybe buy the Weaver, buy the Imp. Then you could sell the Imp and level, or you could sell the 4-2 if you want to keep the Trickster around. I agree with you that it's too early to take this triple, and if you take it now and don't play it, he loses too many stats. So he does go for this line of just selling out of the demon after it's applied its +2/+2 buff for the Wrathweaver. And we can see that because it's Elemental, it's a double triple guaranteed for Collins here. It's really the timing, though, of when he wants to cash out. Do you think he's going to go for 4s or 5s?
There's no pirates, no beasts, so I don't, and no dragons. I could see him going for at least 1 4 and deciding if I want to go for double 4 or single 4, single 5. The thing with Gallywix is that they really want brand for when they hit their buddy, so that is the reasoning to always go for 5. But at the same time, you can always try to play safe, go for 1 4 drop, then go for 1 5 drop. And we're going to see what he decides to do here. He could go for his first triple here, technically. He has the money to do so as long as he sells the minion. He is going to do that. Likely will go for a 4, if I know Collins, which I do.
Yes, you do.
And hits that Dazzling Light Spawn. Doesn't have a lot of Avenge units currently. But is Direction... Is it enough direction? The champion does not work because there's no taunts on board, and he also doesn't have any Murlocs. So I think he's kind of forced into it. The question now becomes, does he feel like this was too weak of a turn? So now I need to double triple into a 4. That is definitely what he's thinking about now.
Yeah, it's really tough to say here because even if he takes another 4, he doesn't necessarily get that much stronger on board because he would have to give up this 4/4, or rather the 2/2, because with the second triple on the water droplet, he'd have a 4/4 as well. He'd also have to float a gold in that instance, just using it for a roll. So I kind of like that Collins is potentially holding on to get another triple later on. But he's he is very stressed.
I want to point out how he is wearing his America's Global Invitational jacket. He wore that jacket when we won the Global Invitational. I think he knows that that is his lucky jacket, repping America's.
All right, if you're stressed, if you're just the best dressed, I guess. I tried to rhyme again today. It didn't quite land so well. Let's ignore that. We have here Hoff on the Toki with a pretty good Avenge setup, getting a lot of value from the budding Green Thumb.
Ooh,
somebody had that as their favorite minion. Which means he got the money.
He hasn't even used his hero power yet, which is important to look at. So he wouldn't even use the buddy yet, so that he's likely just going to hold it because... oh, there he goes. Uses the buddy. Will he shark bait immediately to try to double level? He can't double level. I'm just kidding. It's 11 gold to double level.
Right.
I'm just kidding. But he's going to use his turn to try a power spike to get way more stats on the board, allowing him to have much gold. What did he do, like 16 gold this turn so far? He might hero power again, we don't know yet. Collins got his 5 drop, whiffs on the brand unfortunately, so has to go for trying to gain size with the Urzel and demon setup. Now it is interesting because with Urzel you can he is scaling with his Dazzling Light Spawn, so elementals in the shop are scaling, so he can get more stats. There is some synergies there.
Looking really rough for Collins a while ago because he ate the worst minion with the Urzel Horror, and he's also down in the low 20s here, approaching the danger zone. But Baba Fat had a very interesting turn of just like using the hero power, not for maximum long-term value, but to power spike on a crucial turn, which I think is a mark of a experienced player of Captain Crag. Panpada here on the Arana Elementals here, sort of Elementals. Like, he's got a good setup, but he's not necessarily going to stay down and just do party rock stuff because he has a pretty good Avenge setup with the Light Spawn. This could be the rare Arana dreaming bigger type of comp.
Yeah, you normally don't see Arana's leveling quite aggressively until they have maybe 5 party elementals and a couple rocks, but yeah, maybe he just wasn't getting them. He wasn't going to force it, and did find it early. Dazzling Light Spawn able to do 7 damage to Be Nice on Yogg, and now is going to face off with the Toki. Educated Collins down in the danger zone, 13 health, a bit scary. Plus he still has Wrathweaver on board, so he can take more damage. He's going to be looking for a minion to put his Battlecry buddy on. to get this extra boost in stats. Looking at the Domo in the shop, because Domo just has a lot of synergy with Gallywix, but decides not to take it and goes for the Anoia module because it is a good target for the buddy of Gallywix.
A bit rough though that he goes into the buddy activation turn with no additional gold saved up, which is something you ideally do with Gallywix, but I guess it's a sort of side effect of Collins having to use his tokens to hit an early triple. That was only the real thing that his board was doing at that point, and with no beasts in, there was no way of really printing even money for the next turn with alley cats. Maybe Tads at some point could have helped, but it looks like he hasn't hit any. Still a good turn in terms of stats built up though. Do you think he's gonna expend the buddy here on the module just because it's a divine shield?
Yeah, he has to. He's in a situation where he's in the danger zone. He's about to die any moment now. Does the extra sell just for that extra 1/1 in stats for the buddy. Gets a 14-16, which is good at this point in the game, but is it enough? Has Shemvala popped off is the scary point, because Ken on Shemvala, we don't know what they've been up to, and Shemvala can be either a really strong hero or a really weak hero depending on what they've been offered. And it looks like Collins is going to have enough, right? Oh, maybe not.
I don't know.
Oh,
it kind of depends where the Urzul goes on.
Oh gosh. It will be enough to stay alive.
Yes, for sure.
For sure.
But that's very painful. He is on the brink of death. Absolutely cannot afford to lose another fight here. Has to be only ties or wins from here on out. Very scary situation, but we have Hoff here on the Toki now. Able to level to 4 this turn, which means the hero power can give him a roll on a 5-drop, and this does look like a very powerful mech setup. If he could hit, okay, I was gonna say Mackerel, that's amazing, but the Life Fang's not bad either, because he's also scaling a Divine Shield Quillbore here from the Golden Tough Tusk.
Yeah, we see in the back right now he's using Green Thumb as a scale, which only scales 2 minions. Now this Light Fang has opportunity to scale even more minions, so it is a tempting pick. The problem just right now is only having 2 types that are available, but can easily transition into more. He barely has enough money to buy the Light Fang this turn, so could be something. He freezes. Not sure, because I mean, I guess he has a Murlocs in hand, but it's not that big.
Bit of an update on the overview. We have 2 Nomi players here, one of which is Kurt, and we also have Collins on the light spawns and a Shenvala on the lobby who is playing not Nomis. So the elementals here are highly contested. Kurt with the Nomi setup and a recycling wraith. That is the best way to get Nomi going here, but it's only 1 Nomi at the moment, and the elementals and shop aren't too big yet. However, he has tons of health to work with, and as Rafam with elementals highly contested, his hero power and buddy have a lot of value here. Didn't get the full turn through though, it looks like.
No, yeah, he had this 2/2 left in the shot or on his board and a 10/10 in hand. I think he's a little bit disappointed in that turn, because he just doesn't have max tempo, but he has max health. He has 40 health, 3 armor, so even if he does lose the turn, it's not the end of the world. But yeah, you can see his disappointment in not getting the full turn done with that timer.
Yeah, the 10/10 here possibly could have saved him some health, if not tied the fight. Would have been a chance to kill off the tank here, and that means that he is going to take a hefty chunk of damage from Hoff on the Toki here. Second Nomi player who also has a light spawn is Panpada, who we've talked about is doing something very unusual with Arana, not going for a safe Murloc setup nor a safe tier 2 elemental setup. He's dreaming bigger, and is that going to pay off? He is very much in the danger zone, same spot as Collins, cannot lose any more fights.
Yeah, it looks like Collins did save himself last turn, which is good to see. And a lot of people hanging on their 4 players in the danger zone with Bayou, Babafat, Educated Collins, and Pampada. Be Nice barely staying out of it. 16 health is one of those great stat lines where you're like, okay, I can lose 1 more game and then I'm done. But so yeah, Be Nice in a good spot here.
It's very curious to see Nomi Arana, but looking at it, the buddy is just kind of like a built-in recycling wraith. However, he's sold out of the buddy because the recycling wraith has way more stats on it, whereas Sklib cannot scale whatsoever. Found a good elemental to end the turn on with that crackling cyclone. I love the positioning of that going first, which means that if Panpada wins the 50-50 to go first in the fight, he can still get value from this divine shield before the ghoul goes off.
Yep, and he's about to face Silas, who is Bayou. I don't know if we've seen much of Bayou, what his board is up to. So we're going to find out now if it's enough. Oh, a nice mix of Agam, quite small though, and compared to the elementals that Nomi has built up over here on Panpada's board. So it looks like Silas might be out this round. Bayou looking to be, yep. This is going to be the end of the road for Bayou here, and we will no longer have a 15 damage cap.
That is a heartbreaker for Bayou there, but I also want to point out that 26 health breakpoint on the big taunt from Bayou, and the 26 attack from the Cyclone was huge to make this fight be absolutely in Panpada's favor. So our first casualty is Bayou, but everybody else who was in the danger zone has managed to hold on, and now Collins is popping off a bit. Hits a triple on the Wildfire Elemental, one of the best minions to get way more stats on because of the double cleave effect that it gets with the overkill. Lil Rag picked up, not bad, not bad.
There was a decision to make the Foe Reaper, but because if you look at the buddy meter, it is too far away. If the buddy meter would have allowed to get the buddy this next turn, I think Foe Reaper would have been the choice so that he could make the biggest Foe Reaper possible. But unfortunately, just has 6 health and cannot risk that. So is going to just go for as much stats as possible. At this point, he can switch out of a pair to get the Refreshing Anomaly for a little bit more stats, but tripling elementals is very key when you are playing this Dazzling Light spawn comp. Right. You have to force triples because that's really where you get your stats. And that's why it was such a big deal that he was able to triple on this turn. His opponent, Ken, is over here playing Bran comp with an Amalgadon in hand and a golden SI Sephin. So we'll be able to get some poisons, but will the poisons show up too late?
Yeah, he has a few more rolls here, but I'm sorry, can we go back to Colin's board a little bit? Because I wanted to call out here that the Lil Rag, I feel like he was going to sell out of that after just getting the +4/+4 from playing the Wildfire, but it ended that the +4 went on the Lil Rag itself, so he had that decision you were talking about to sell out of the pair instead. He's also gotten rid of the Void Lord now, which is really the only good scaling he had for the Light Spawn. He's paying full respect here to Ken on the Shenvala, and will it be enough here? I think it's all about the timing of the Avenge here. The Amalgadon will get the poison.
It will. That's not going to be enough damage coming from our elemental side.
Oh, it has 25 health, but no! The plants!
Lance OP. Unfortunately for Collins, that will be a loss to the Shenvala. The trades just were not in his favor, and that will be a 7th place for Educated Collins. And we are now into our top 6 with Be Nice getting to his buddies. These buddies spinning the Wheel of Yogg, which is quite a fun turn. We might be able to see it here. Probably looking for a brand so that he can get double the value.
He is still on tier 4 though, so maybe rolling for a triple to get to the brand.
Yeah.
We'll see though. The Argus is very nice to try and manipulate the resets on the Deflectobot. I was gonna say the egg to be taunted up, but not the case here. He's taunting up Ground Shaker, and now that the egg has attack, and of course he has the blood gems to make it get more attack and make sure it actually dies, the Deflectobots will have at least 1 guaranteed reset here. And now he goes for the buddy towards the end of the turn. Pro tip, you can click on the wheel to make it go faster.
I want to point out that he used the gems first because there is a wheel option where you gain 3/3 stats and then all the stats switch, and because you have added all these imaginary stats for the turn, they're actually going to become permanent stats from the Quillbore.
That's the Darkmoon prize on the second roll. The first one was the double hero power, which is not great at the end of the turn, but it can be added value later on. Not amazing prizes either, but it's some tempo. Meanwhile, for Hoff here, he is on a Bran himself, has a setup to get poison on his 4/6 Murloc as well, and some good mech synergy with the Buster. Don't think it's going to be enough to get here against these elementals from Kurt, though.
Yeah. Looks like Kurt's going into double Nomi, which is a bit scary. He's going to need to sell out of the double Nomi soon because having 2 4/4s is quite weak to big minions, but it looks like he does still have tons of stats, so he's been able to greed the double Nomi and hop over here with the golden seafood slinger. I'm excited to see where that goes if he survives, but it doesn't look like he is.
Oh,
Narana takes the L.
Yeah, that's another bottom 4 placement for Pampada here. But yeah, that very last fight for Hoff there was honestly so scary. Every one of those microbots missing the 1 health minion was a heartbreaker for him, but he still stabilizes here. He has the Jug, a golden seafood slinger, many chances at hitting Amalgadons, but Baba Fat, winner of last lobby, wipes out in 5th here, which means the field is wide open to try and overtake his points.
Yep, so we see Hoff over here, tier 5, maybe looking to go to tier 6 soon. Takes 9 gold, but going to golden this Begurgle, triple into some options that aren't Amalgadon, which I'm sure is what he was looking for here. So just going to use this Begurgle to discover another minion. Might hold off on rolling, because if he hits the Amalgadon that doesn't get Divine Shield, could buy that module. Decides to roll past it, though.
I am racking my brains trying to figure out how he ended up with a golden seafood slinger. Like, sometimes it happens if you Murazon with a brand, but there's no dragons in.
Probably from the hero power.
But like,
he buying them?
Rather than separating their battle cries, I feel like that would be more efficient.
That wouldn't be.
All right.
Look at that last minute triple. There's the Amalgadon. He only has, or does he have 2 types? He has 3 with the genie.
Seems good. 6 rolls with Bran, but misses on poison. However, it's very fixable. He has the Sephin. The taunt on the Amalgadon means it's not guaranteed, but he has many other taunts here, so I would say it's very likely that he still gets the poison on the Amalgadon. Over here on Be Nice's side with the Yogg, this honestly looks like a pretty mediocre board for this stage of the game, but he's managed to hang on this long with the Ground Shaker. It looks like he didn't quite get so many gems this turn as previous turns because he doesn't have that much attack on his minions.
Yeah, I think Hoff was expecting more. He picked up that last minute zap because he was reading mechs and was expecting to likely use his zap to knock a Baron down, which you'll see with the Omega Buster comp at this stage in the game. But yeah, that's just not where Be Nice is at. But because of these trades, because of all the Divine Shields, Be Nice is going to win it with that trade there and knock out Hoff into 4th place.
Oh my god, that was crazy. Like the Deflectobot with the Divine Shield just dodging all of those 1/1s, going straight for the snipe on the poison. That is quite unfortunate for Hoff in the end there. But still ends up with a top 4, which is very, very big. At this point, it's just about getting to 20 first. No one's worried about check at the moment. But here we have a clear front runner to win the lobby with Ken with the Amalgadon setup. He has transitioned from that elemental mid-game and now is just trying to collect all of the Amalgadons.
Yep, he only has 2 right now, which is only, but you can have a full board of Amalgadons any minute as long as he hits the seafood slingers, which I'm sure is what he's looking for. The thing about Murloc builds is they don't necessarily beat mech builds if they don't have the health, because mechs can just keep resummoning these Divine Shields that can't die to poison. So is it actually going to Shambhala here? Not sure. If Be Nice can get a ton of stats on his Divine Shields by really utilizing his Quillbore, utilizing that Ground Shaker, this might not actually go to the Amalgadons. And you see here, Shivalo is again putting in a zap for mechs, reading mechs. Hey, I need to hit the Baron, but we know that that's not quite the board that Be Nice has going on.
Yeah, that's right. I think Be Nice does struggle to get enough attack because he didn't have a gem generator that we saw on board.
Oh, true.
He was just kind of buying the gems from the shop here and there. And also the ground shaker was not golden, right? So it can't actually get that much attack on the mechs at the moment. I was going to say perhaps the best way for him to scale from here is to try and find an Omega Buster, but he's not on tier 6 at the moment. And also Ken also has that zap to try and have some insurance against it. He does have a big Mithrax though, Be Nice. Going to wipe out from the poison here, but will the double resets from the eggs be enough here? The trades definitely have to go a certain way. Not that way. Oh, okay, it's a reset, but I don't think it's... No, okay, wait. No, it's not.
That is not enough, yeah. Those Sephins hiding in the back and not having any replicating menaces on those deflected bots is going to put Be Nice out into third. And we see over here, Kurt able to defeat the ghost with 5 health in a dream. Very scary point, but I assume Kurt has gotten out of his Nomis at this point. I'm not sure. We haven't seen what he's been up to, but I'm sure we're gonna go check it out. There we go. He has 1 Nomi left. A huge Mega Wind Fury in front. He is now looking to either get these premium elementals, which are the cleaves, the cyclones, or to triple so that he has a big statted minion. Though the big statted minions aren't as important right now because he is going to be facing Murlocs.
Yeah, he can read that from the Shinvala as well. And Ken has been on tier 6 forever now, basically. So Kurt knows he's kind of doomed. He can't really beat Poison Divine Shield at the moment. But if there is any small percentage chance, it absolutely comes from what you were saying, so finding the premium elementals with Divine Shield, with Cleave, trying to 2-for-1 and offset the fact that he doesn't have shield on every minion. The Selfless could be huge here. But at the moment, because the Amalgadons from Ken are Poison Divine Shield and Taunt, that Mega Wind Fury is going to have 2 attacks at most.
Yeah, exactly. You notice he got out of the Nomi and then started playing elementals. I think some people are like, oh, what was he doing? He does not care about stacks. He's facing Murloc, he's facing poison. So he really just cares about getting minions that can defeat Murlocs, which is Divine Shields, which is yeah. Oh, there's in the shop. Does he freeze it? Okay, he does get the freeze on the Cyclone last minute.
Yeah.
Oh,
not gonna be enough here, though, I don't think. Even though this 1-1, because of the clever taunt from Kurt, is just gonna shave off a shield. That's an insta-wipe from the Mega Wind Fury, and he gets the poison attack on the next one, and the Amalgadon even survives here. It gets to trade twice, which is going to spell disaster for Kurt.
yeah, just not having the Mega Wind Fury first.
Wait. This cleave means that... Yeah, sorry, I forgot about the cleave.
Yeah, the cleave is huge, and that's why we have to go for those premium minions, because the cleave, if he triples it, can knock out 3 minions in 1. Then the Cyclones can knock out 2, and that's how he defeats these poison minions, that they can't beat it. So he really needs to try and focus on tripling his cleave, tripling his cyclone, or not tripling the cyclone, actually keeping them separate is better in this situation.
Right. They have enough stats individually to go toe-to-toe with what Ken is reading, which is the Murlocs. Not too much health on those. I think it's more about trying to find another Selfless here. Baron is not that much of an improvement on the board because you'd have to sell out of a threatening minion to double your Divine Shields. Here's the triple you were talking about, but probably not necessary, right?
Yeah. And he doesn't even probably want to trade out of his current taunt, because this taunt that he has is making sure that his opponent doesn't attack his Mega Wind Fury.
Question is there any 6-drop that could improve his board state here? Does the Zap do anything? I don't quite remember Ken's exact board state.
I don't think the Zap does anything, and...
Ooh, does take a triple, though.
The only miracle is hitting Amalgadon with poison.
Right.
The Foe Reaper might knock some stuff off that, like knock the Divine Shields off Amalgadons if they're next to each other.
Yeah. That was interesting, but we'll see here what Ken has done with his board. I was honestly thinking like Ghoul might be effective here even before I saw the Deadly Spore, but we see that the Foe Reaper gets the Ghoul job done pretty much just as well because he knew that there were two taunts here. Kurt did not separate them because he wanted them to attack next to each other, so that Foe Reaper does a lot of work indeed. It's
They're
now
great
once again up to the Wildfire to scam.
Oh, it hits a poison!
That's huge. Kurt just wins.
Yes, his
But he's
elemental.
Five.
Oh, it's not enough because he did just level this turn, so it did add an extra damage, but just wasn't quite there. Over here on Ken's side, he is looking for probably some tech pieces. He doesn't quite need this. If you look at the taunt on the far right, his rock, what it's doing now is it's deterring minions from attacking his Amalgadons, keeping them safe in the front. But he could taunt other minions and get out of it. It's not quite necessary. But that's what its action is right now. And
Right.
otherwise, he needs some selfless heroes for his poisons.
That's exactly what he wants here, not only because it has way more utility to protect the, or create a threat. A Divine Shield here on any of these poisons is way more valuable than the 2786. It also can be Cleave Protect, depending on how you position it. There's a chance that the Wildfire's excess damage kills the Selfless, which is not a problem at all for Ken, but it's just looked like a -10 whiff here. Nothing good in the shop, no good replacement for the 2786. There is a Murloc, but he doesn't have the gold to buy it unless he wants to go down to 6 minions, which is absolutely not the way to play this, I think. So he just kind of has to hope that the trades go better. Maybe he saw that his odds were good in the last fight. Maybe he just got a little bit scammed and he's trying to improve a little bit with positioning here. It's still anyone's game.
Yep, but we know that Rafam has hit an Amalgadon, but it turns out it wasn't a good one, so he had to sell out of it. And with the knowledge of Ken having the cleave, he did separate his Divine Shield minions so that they couldn't knock off both Divine Shields. So that was important information, and it made it so the Amalgadon went into a Divine Shield, not being very useful.
Okay, there's a cleave whiff here on the far right, but that's not a whiff. That takes down a poison. Okay, but there could still be the 1/1 spore going into a plant here. Oh, but then the elemental's too big. So in the end, Kurt just barely takes it here with the Genie actually getting some value in terms of combat.
Yes, if it did end up winning tier 4, and the Americas versus Americas final goes to Kurt and I think this is wrong.
Yeah, this is wrong. Please just switch Ken and Kurt.
Fix it. Kurt did take the win. Kurt will have 7 points and Ken will have 6. That will be changed in just a second. We're going to go look at the replays of this game, the exciting points.
Yes, indeed. This one here, the scam that we talked about, Slissa, I remember it here. Okay, that was a good trade for Hoff. The poison took a value trade, but then this Deflecto just dodged all the 1/1s, made the shield get value, and then at the 50-50 in the end here, Hoff lost it again, didn't get the tie, and that's a very unfortunate way going out in fourth, where I think he very realistically could have gone third or even higher because he had the poisons, which it did come down to sort of a poison battle in the end of this lobby.
Yeah, but then Be Nice was not able to take it in the long run because he was just not getting the scaling that he needed, but still was able to get a very respectable 3rd place with mechs, considering he wasn't the full Omega Buster crazy mech piece. And it ended us up in the final 2 with a previously elemental turned Murloc player versus a standard elemental Rafam player.
That is right. I mean, for Ken here, this must have been a heartbreaker because I think he had gone to tier 6 very early. He was healthy for the majority of this lobby. And when you're that far ahead and nobody else is contesting Amalgadons and Murlocs are in, it's very realistic that you can get a board of 4 or more Amalgadons just using Seafood Slinger to make sure there's enough of them still in the pool, creating the Goldens with the Battle Cry rather than actually buying 3 of them. And the more Amalgadons you have, the more Divine Shield poisons, the better you can contest the poison battle here. ended up with only 2 of them, and then the cleave was the big offsetting factor here for Kurt to get the victory. But very cleverly played by these two in the end game here. It was that separation of the Divine Shields here that was the key to success for Kurt, and also his cat, as we know.
And we have our fixed scoreboard with Bobo Fett tied with Be Nice in first. Bobo Fett winning the tiebreakers, but that doesn't really matter until we go, because we are playing the check format. Kurt in 3rd place, Hoff in 4th, and Kenken now with that 6 points in 5th after a struggling first round. Now remember, we are playing check format, so our players need to hit 20 points, and then once they do, they will have to get a 1st place to end the day and win the lobby.
That is right, which means we could still have a lot more action ahead of us, or less. It's not necessarily these 8 lobbies that we have here on the graphic. That's just a rough estimate. We have many players who are neck and neck as well, so it's very likely that in a few games' time, we end up with several players heading into check position at the same time, and that will drastically change the landscape of how our players will face against each other and the strategies they go for. Lots of action still to be played out, so we are going to go to a quick break to let our players settle down, get ready for yet another high action lobby. Don't go anywhere. Right after this, game 3 of Lobby Legends Raid Leaders Finals.